Have I told you how much I enjoy the Campfire Passport logo right here?
No.
It's green screened on.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know how that technology
you're
works.
touching it right now. I can see your hand on it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful. Every time we drop a podcast on Tuesdays, I look at the podcast and I watch a little bit of it. I always look at that little spot and I think, that's cool. That is really the extent of my thought on that. So today we record a podcast with a guest, which is our favorite thing to do.
Two guests.
Mm-hmm. Two guests today.
At the same time.
Two guests at the same time. If I had $1 million, I might do that. Two guests at the same time. And then we have Jesse, who's not really a guest, but he's here.
Yeah.
And Jesse, actually, special shout out to Jesse because he facilitated this. He didn't quite come through in a way, which we might evolve on at some point. But he did come through on a couple great guys that had some pretty good conversation about a very great topic. So we had on Russ and Jamie. Both of them are Gambler guys, so they're part of the Gambler 500, kind of maybe not the OG crew of like the starters, but they're the people that are very involved in it.
Pretty deep.
Yep, involved in Hoopty Cross and Gambler 500, as well as the builds that show up through Gambler 500. So I think that's really neat. Jamie's Instagram is ArcForce Studio. Russ's is Fiend _Metal. Both of those guys have some pretty cool stuff on there, so good follow. That's something that we were talking about at the end of the show after that I haven't been doing a good job of. I want to make sure that I'm shouting out these people at the beginning so that you guys can all follow them, because I think it's a good thing to do.
Yes.
Because I just did, so I suggest you do. And while you're doing that, if you don't already follow Campfire Passport, you should do that on all of the different things that you can follow us on. And then you should look at our YouTube. And if you're not following it, you should follow it, and you should like things, and you should comment on them, and watch them all the way through.
All the way through,
please.
Yeah, watch time.
None of this 2-minute stuff. Well, I'm not into that. Why are you watching for 2 minutes? Yeah. I appreciate that you tried, but just walk away if you don't like it.
I mean, a click is a click, but unfortunately, view time is part of the algorithm, guys.
It really is, yeah. And our recent content, I think, is really good, and I'm biased, because some of it involves things that we have either.
I'm biased the other way because I make it.
Yeah, there is that. I'm just trying. Yeah, okay, I get that. I understand. But I think it's good for people to watch because I think it's interesting. So please watch. Anything else?
No, you got it again. That's 2 in a row.
2 in
at
a
least.
Row. I am 2 for 35.
Wow.
All right.
What an accomplishment.
Actual recording is higher quality.
No, it's not.
Jesse, it's nice to see your truck in there.
Yeah, it cramps up the room a little bit, but you know what? I got the head off.
Good for you for getting the head off.
Yeah.
Did you hike it out of there by hand, or did you use a hoist?
No, I hiked it out by hand. It's a 22 RE head.
Yeah,
it's 22 RE.
It's not bad.
It's a little,
just wondering.
I mean, it's
some
a little
people
high,
do that.
I guess, but it's a high starting point. It's not like he's pulling it out of a lowered Volkswagen or something.
It definitely hurt my back. I can see it from here. I'd be like, all right, I'm standing on this tire and I'm trying to hunch over it.
Oh no, I was in the engine bay.
Okay, that's good.
There you go.
I got video of it. Don't worry.
Okay, of course. It's nice to see it though getting worked on. It's been, how long has it been out of commission?
Over 10 years.
Oh my God.
Actually, no. So I did actually get to go wheel it on Bergham's 30th birthday. So that was almost 9 years ago.
Yeah. So your original.
And then before that, it was another 2 years. So.
Oh my God. Every time I see it, I remember that it is what it is. I always like in my head, it's a different truck. So I don't know why. No, it's always been that truck, right?
Yep. No, it's not always been this truck because it used to have the Toyota axles under it, and it used to be more of a respectable vehicle. Now it's the wonton Toyota.
So it's got 60 front, 14 bolt rear.
60 front, 14 bolt rear, 22 RE, dual cases.
Do you have 228s in both cases or 4.7 in one? No, just 228s.
228s in both cases. It goes slow enough, got enough torque, 22 RE, welded front and rear.
Power to break anything.
It's welded front too.
Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, yeah. If I have to make a turn, I just get out and unlock the hubs.
Even then, it can't turn that well with those the bog dogs on there.
Oh, it turns just fine unless it's slippery outside. By slippery, I mean a light drizzle.
So they're radials. Yeah,
they're got the 3-peak rating now that you cut them.
Yeah. Well, now that I've got one cut.
Yeah.
It's like Mike talking about his tire pressure earlier. I just forgot the one.
Yeah, well,
I think that's fine. I honestly,
bad, right?
Sorry, Mike, but I don't really think that was was one of your 10,000 pounds of problems, but only one.
But it was mostly the 10,000 pounds.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do a little guest podcast, which is gonna be interesting. I think what I try to do is have people that haven't been on here before introduce themselves a little bit. It's not like a first day at school thing. We don't have to be too crazy about it, but just like a quick, here's who I am. Here's, that would be nice, I think. And actually it's good for me too, because we kind of went by the seat of our pants on this one. So I didn't get to do research. I do research on people now. It's great. It's like I used to do it, but it was creepier before.
I was about to say it sounds a little creepy.
It's still creepy, but now it's it's kind of like a work thing almost. Yeah, it's okay. It's the okay kind of creepy.
I'm just going to stalk your Instagram and I'm going to like every single photo.
Oh, no. You never like
them.
You never like them.
You can't do the likes just so they know you're watching.
And you can't watch a story because they'll see.
People find that weird when you start following them and then like the last 50 things that they posted.
I find it weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
No, it's not. It's weird.
Thanks, Jesse.
I'm sorry. Did my sarcasm not come through the first time?
We need the likes. So
we need the likes. Yeah. Oh, go ahead and
go on ours.
Yeah.
Feel free. Just like everything from the very start. That's great.
Please.
Oh no! When I met him, was it 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. Buying that fridge. Yeah, when listening to your guys' stuff while I'm at work, I have to listen to something. And no, it's been enjoyable. I've been mainly obviously listening to YouTube stuff. It's just easier that way on my mind. But no, it's been good.
That's interesting. Okay. So this is a conversation we've had back and forth, and we have this between all of our buddies, how you listen. I only listen to podcasts on the podcast app on my phone. So it's just like the Apple podcast. That's the only way I listen. Most people, I think, listen to Spotify.
Yeah.
But then we have at least one or two that are holdout YouTube. So do you listen to audio only on YouTube?
Yeah, I start YouTube and I work on cars all day. So I can't just keep my phone in my pocket, I'll break it. So I just start YouTube and then just put it on my toolbox and just let it play.
So every once in a while you walk by your toolbox and you see our stupid faces. That's helpful.
Well, just talk. It's also, to be honest, I've never listened to podcasts.
Oh.
I watch videos of podcasts on the groups where they do their podcasts and video.
Yeah.
And I listen to it, but I've never actually specifically listened to podcasts before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts and it's something I really enjoy, but I realize that definitely not everybody does that.
Yeah. Not everybody's into talk radio. It's the new age talk radio.
It kind of is.
Well, but YouTube with I obviously listen to Joe Rogan stuff, like his technically the podcast, and I would assume same way. Like Unsubscribe, I listen to them also. They're technically a podcast, but I listen to them through YouTube.
Through YouTube. Okay, I see. I tried one time to watch a Rogan podcast, to actually like watch it. I sat down on the couch and was like, I'm going to watch this, like whatever it was, like a fight companion or something that where there was a lot of people, and I thought it'd be really interesting to watch it like all in one. I can't do it. I have to listen only. It's like so weird for me to watch the people trying to interact over the table. I don't know. I think now that we have like a studio thing, I think maybe that would be easier to watch. But like when it's virtual, like the way we started doing them, we're only through, each one of us on our own computer. I don't know. Didn't seem like that interesting of a watch to me. But I'm glad that you're listening and watching sometimes.
We appreciate the views and clicks.
And here, 100 viewers.
I was listening to your guys' one that you guys were doing the outboard, and that's something we do events down there,
right?
With the Gambler, the Dirty Divas, which is strictly female, almost strictly female only, a Gambler event.
Really?
And, just almost. It's strictly female unless you're support, and it's like if guys are there, they can be like, "Bitch, go get me a sandwich." So the guys are there strictly for being maids for the women.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm allowed there because I'm recovery and repair. And I ain't getting no one's sandwich. Sorry, I'm fixing everything.
But I'm busy. Get your own.
Well, also that's like a close to our heart because of Jesse Combs.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And that's like to go down there. At least recently, I don't know if you guys have been down there, going to sit on her bench. That bench they made at the hot springs. We talked to the guy that built that bench. He got the okay from the family to go yard. That's her rear axle from her crash.
Oh my gosh! Like we should visit that the next time we're there.
Yeah, it's the hot springs right there on Alvord, and they have like that's her axle from her title from winning not winning, but
setting the record.
Setting the record for fastest woman in the world.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
It's one of those things of also it's connected to doing the Gambler stuff with riding the Miata that Tate has, that he built that for her, and they got to go out and do stuff like that, and it's like, awesome. I love the outboard. You just have to be careful. You have to be super careful out there. And I was listening today. I was like, you'll get in some shit if you don't go there at the right time, because that whole area floods and it looks dry, and then you get your car out there and it stinks a fucking foot and a half. You're got 3 cars with tow straps trying to get one car out.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's like there's nothing to winch off of. Luckily there's great cell service out there. So if you did get in a pinch, like that's good. But the intent is never to do that. We've crossed a few times when it's like mildly wet, and it's terrifying, especially when you get out into the middle where you're like, well, I hope this is fine. We're just going to go as fast as possible. And
tiptoe a little bit. And if it feels okay, like don't stop, just go and hope it doesn't start sinking.
The other thing I always run into that I'm like more and more conscious of as we go along is I don't want to like ruin anything either. Right. Like I don't want to bury a rig in the middle of that and then have to figure out how to get it out, for one, but then 2, like the damage that the 3 vehicles that have to pull the thing out are going to do to that, spot in the middle where people are trying to land planes and just enjoy for a long time, or drive 300 miles an hour. Like those are important things to like try to keep it, relatively smooth. So I think that's good.
Your tracks get set there for years to come, unless you go back and fix them. And they're going to stay there.
Yeah, that one's we've had this conversation so many times. So like to, bigger picture, I think that Alvord episode, we talked about it a little bit, and we talk about it every time that we talk about it, but like we go out there at least once a year, most of us probably twice a year in some capacity. Cause from Bend, it's pretty close. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
And I think it is the best place in Oregon. I think it's the most unique landscape. It's beautiful. It's very remote. Like all the people out there in fields are great. So like it's really nice. But it is it's a gem. Bye, Jesse. It is a gem that we don't want to lose. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and then places out there near like Timber Gulch. It's a beautiful place to go to out there.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely worth the drive.
Yep. I didn't realize that there was. Why do I not know that there was a female only event? That's crazy. Is it growing? Is it pretty big? Is it?
No, it's a more smaller event. Like obviously Kate does the OG, which is a big event, which is usually a shit show, and he calls it a shit show all the time. He's like, I'm not even an adult, but we're going to do this. And the smaller ones are so much more fun. You get like 40 people together and you just do your own thing. The female only one I haven't gone to personally. My partner has many times since the beginning, and I think they're going this coming year. They paused it since COVID, and just strictly mainly females only, unless
That's
you're
cool.
invited. And they've went down to Arbors a couple times, but there's also stuff like, unfortunately, Winter Wonderland, which is in the snow and the shit, and it sucks and it's cold, but it's still fun. Like we're just still going out there and having fun, picking up trash and overload dumpsters at that point, and that's the enjoyable part of it, because I don't like to go out wheeling or camping or anything that you're like, there is some dirty diapers out here next to my camp spot. They're like, no.
Yeah, that is one of the pieces. So overall, right, like that is a terrible thing that we want to avoid and we want to try to help with all the time. I think one of the reasons that we started going further and further and further out is that too, right? Like we're able to stay away from that, and we're able to be in places where we can be responsible for what we're doing, and we don't necessarily have to worry about running into a dump along the way. That being said, the times that you're in a closer area and that, these events are going on or whatever cleanups are going on, and that can be, helped. I think that's a really good thing. And we should probably do more of that. We've talked about before. But it's, what a terrible thing. And what a good thing, right? That like that the Gambler crew as a whole and community has like really brought into light and really pushed in the Northwest and all over the country, really, about, just making sure that we're taking responsibility for this land and, not taking for granted the fact that we get to use it, especially in the West, where we have these huge swaths of land and a lot of people that don't take care of it very well. So it's, it lands on the back of people like you guys that are really pushing the effort to make it better and to make it so that the rest of us idiots can still use it.
Yeah. And
I think that's good.
It's me and doing it all these years, going out camping and everything, and then dealing with BLM a lot. And then it's not really a fight against people that are dumping trash. Yeah, that sucks. And they're stupid as fuck. Just go to the dump. It's also battling BLM, is that their outlook on it is, if it's not being taken care of, they can technically sell it to private owners. And they'll do something what's called landlock. Well, they'll sell 1,000 acres, but they'll sell 1,000 acres that are surrounded and landlock something, and then they can sell that 100,000 acres inside of it. And that's where we're technically, yes, we're fighting litter bugs, people that like to dump trash, but we're also fighting BLM at the same time, because they're still going to sell our land off. And that's land for us. So especially in Oregon, where we have so much land, so much public land, or at least in the Northwest. But then you go down to places like Texas, where we still have gamblers, and they have no public land down there. They have crazy, right? It's like 1 or 2% public land out there. And
I didn't realize until very recently how lucky we are. in the Northwest specifically, but Oregon even more so, just to have what we have. And it amazes me, even all of the West Coast states, even California, the amount of public land that actually exists in those states compared to Texas and everything east of Texas, really, because there just isn't any, or there's so little that it's mind blowing that it's not available. And it's like I said, it's something I think take for granted sometimes, that we have, and it's I'm glad we have it. I didn't do anything to get it, right? Like, it's like this weird privilege thing that we have. Yeah. It's a weird way to say it, but like, it's just this thing that especially if you're a native Oregonian, you're here, this is the way it is your whole life. And then all of a sudden at 35 or 40 or whatever, you find out that other people don't have that. And you're just like, oh shit, that's crazy. So it makes sense that, groups like this, kind of pop up in our area once they figure out, hey, we got to be nice to this. We got to we have to advocate for it, right? With BLM, and say we are here to say that this needs to be open because we need it to be. And we're also here to, buck the trend of people making it their own dump or whatever thing, dumping boats and cars and campers and motorhomes and all the terrible shit that you find out there.
Yeah, I don't even want to know what the worst shit you guys have found out there is.
Weird stuff out there.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Actually, I want to hear the story first, but then I have a question to follow up.
Well, actually, at OG down at when we were down in Bend, I used my 04 Forester to pull an entire 40-foot camper out. It was out there in the middle of the woods, and we just collapsed it on itself, strapped it down, and I think I blew my rear struts all the way out to get it to the dump site. And yeah, it's just so weird out there, especially in like the southeastern Oregon area, where there's so much public land in comparison to like the Portland Northwest, the Northwest of Oregon. You can just drive out and just dump stuff everywhere, and they do it.
It doesn't have to be an RV, by the way. I found an XJ in the woods recently. So,
what was it? We found a Crown Vic.
You guys found a Crown Vic too?
Yeah, it's. Or we go trying to spot some of them for some of the events where people are going to go clean them up. And it's like, we'll go out and actually put eyes on it beforehand to be like, this is actually here, so we can try and arrange.
Yeah, that's like the Sons of Smoky app that Tate ended up getting developed, is that you can look at it, and it's not just the U.S. You can go everywhere around the world, and you can take a photo of, hey, this trash is here, and put it on the app, and it'll tell you exactly. You can GPS locate it and just, hey, I'm out wheeling. I don't have room to pick up this one car or this trailer or this garbage or anything. You can put it on the app, and then you can pull the app up while you're out fucking wheeling, like, hey, I got room. Yeah. And you go, oh, well, there's this fucking whatever garbage there. Let's grab some extra bags, toss them in our rig, and then head back. And that's free to download, all that stuff. So that's also opens up us being stewards of the land.
It really opens up. You don't just have to be a part of the Gambler or Sons of Smoky or yada 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 to be a part of it. You could just be an individual, and like you guys say, it's the always be Gamblin, and really promote that identity among all individuals that want to be stewards of the land.
Yeah, and we should all be, especially that we're enjoying all this public land that we can deal with, and we might as well keep it clean at that point.
Yeah. If we don't, it's not going to be around for long.
Yeah, it's the idea of it's not our responsibility to change people, but it's our responsibility to keep things the way we want them to be. It's what's it, Dalai Lama? who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world."
Yeah.
Pick up trash and put your cart back in the cart return.
Yeah, of course.
To the roof of a minivan.
What is it's not your responsibility, but it's your problem. That's one of my favorites. That's not a Dalai Lama quote, by the way, but
no. Well, I just also picked the most quotable Dalai Lama quote.
They're, just full of quotes. So the thing I was going to ask before we got on the big subject that we really talked about here that I was going to get to eventually, so I'm glad we got to already, is you guys are part of the original Gambler crew, and I know just this much of the information.
I'd say a strain. I wasn't original.
I was 2017.
Okay, so
yeah, sounds about right.
So
earlier on.
Yeah, a couple years in.
Okay, and that was maybe I should have asked that instead of said that, but that was my assumption that part of the original, smaller, not so huge event, right?
The big blow up event that Dirt Every Day was at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I originally saw the Gamblin 500 video everyone else saw with that blew up. And I was like, that looks awesome. I want to do that. And it was like 2 years down the road. And I was like, fuck it, let's go.
That's awesome.
And we did it. First year it was in La Pine at the pumice pit.
Okay, yep.
And after that, I just kept on doing it. It's awesome. so many awesome people. I can't not do it.
Yeah.
It gets addicting after a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? I started Hoodoo year.
Yeah, that was the year before I started.
Yep.
Actually, only through this year I learned that the person that told me and my buddy about it is one of Tate's better friends. So it's like we were invited in 2017 to, told about it and told to go. And that was where we started off with it. So, which I ended up going more to D-Cross and stuff like that.
Nice. What were your first, so Gambler is something that everybody should look into if they don't know that listens to this, but I'm sure most people that listen would know what it is.
Unless you've been living in a cave.
Yeah, exactly. But really a huge portion of this is the first thing that we talked about, which is the, really just cleanup, right? And like maintaining land. The middle part of it, which is probably most important or second most important, is having fun, right? Like it's a group of people and things that are just, outrageous and having a blast. And then like the third part of it is this crazy, I don't want to say movement, but this crazy thing that is just the vehicles, right? Like it is so much vehicle centric without being vehicle centric, which is kind of interesting. And it's created this entire group of vehicles that are completely different, that incorporate some like really, traditional stuff and some just wild, ridiculous things. What did you guys like? What part of that, what part of the vehicle thing was cool for you, or what did you come in with? Like, what was that like?
So to kind of start out, I'll explain how Tate would. It started out with a bunch of friends just wanting to go out and have fun. So they made a course, GPS coordinates, that they're just going to go out and have fun. And they ended up cleaning up a bunch of trash and going from there. But there are rules. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Number one.
Pick up trash, and then don't be a dick. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Those are like the 3 rules we go by. That's it. And the car culture behind it is just expressing yourself.
Sure.
And just having fun with it.
Yeah, it is like a no holds barred, have the most fun that you can kind of thing.
Oh, it gets wild.
Yeah. So it's ironic that you guys brought up 17 because I was just looking to make sure that I knew when, but like I also did 2017 was the first year that I did it, the only year that I did it. We went out of Meadows and did like the overnight at Hoodoo. It was wild. Every part of it was wild. There was no moment that was actually the most boring time was when we got like separated from everybody on some off-road route and like I don't want to say got lost, but I was navigating and we kind of got lost for a while. But then we popped out in a place that I didn't expect us to pop out, but basically so close to Hoodoo, it was amazing and it was great. So we ended up making it to the party, which was great. But there's so many moments that like that were during that weekend that I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is like, I can't believe that this exists. And it, it was huge at that point and it's bigger now. I mean, going to the deal at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds last year was insane. I went there for one evening and was like, oh my God, this has gotten huge. It's a little bit just like this much more controlled than the Hoodoo party was.
That's very loosely controlled.
Yeah. But it's just barely like it's like just this far away from like a dystopian future in a good way.
Mad Max every day over there.
Yeah. That Hoodoo party blew me away. It went very late. And there was the big bendy bus that had a hot tub in it was there, and that was gross.
It's pretty gross. That is the right word.
Yeah.
I think I was only 10 cars in the gate at Hoodoo.
Oh man, that's impressive.
So
yeah, it's quite the
thing. It's wild. It's at least come out and try it, and if you don't have any friends there, follow a group and you'll be welcomed.
Yeah, dude, if you want to make friends and you like cars and people, that it's easy. It's a low lift. Like everybody there is very friendly. They're all there to have a good time, and they're all there because they care about having a good time outside. That's pretty much the like driving thing, it feels like. So I've always been impressed by that. Even like, that stupid bendy bus. I don't want to call it stupid because it's ridiculous. I just remember going up to that guy and being like, how do you come up with something like this? And he's like, oh yeah, I run a logging company or whatever, and we had these giant tires and this bus, and so I just put it together. Okay, I would have never thought that those two things could go together, but you did, and it's awesome.
There's wild stuff like the USS Compensator, which was a full limo, with 80-inch tires or something.
Oh, it's those military. It's like 46 military.
Yeah.
They're
huge. Big ones. They're bigger.
Yeah, it's big.
Humongous.
Or was big. That's the one. Is that the one that got stripped at like the Mint 400 or something a couple years ago?
That was the Dix.
The Dixon
one.
Yeah.
They got sponsored for that race.
Not good.
Oh, that was. We'll get into that. We'll get into the Mint 400 and get into that.
Why don't? What's going to stop us? Let's talk about that.
So,
don't leave anything in the desert.
Don't leave anything in the desert. Okay.
Was our first year for the Gambler Hoop DX class at Mint 400.
Okay.
And it was just safety rules, kind of going by the rule book.
Yeah. All you have to have is your safety gear. It's roll cage, fire, basically your safety bag for all your bandages, and safety gear.
Okay.
Pretty basic. But there's no suspension limitations outside of there's the modified and stock-ish.
Okay.
Obviously, yes.
You're big close.
And that's
a range of
stock-ish.
That's
like range.
That's the that's the Hoop DX. Like that's the that's the normal classes, right? Those are like pretty much standard.
Yeah, it's a Gamblin Hoopty X.
Okay.
And there's a modified and then stock.
Okay, that's right. That's
stock.
One of my old coworkers has a vehicle that's in the modified, and it's like, he's like, there's no, I mean, it's like wide range, as you said.
Yeah, there's a wide range.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my little Subaru falls in stock, as much as that can be said about that dang car. But like full tube chassis front end, modified to fit 29-inch tires at stock ride height.
Okay.
But I mean, it's pretty competitive usually.
Yeah.
But for an 80 horsepower car. And I'm usually playing with WRXs and V8 Jeeps. And I quite often come out on top.
That's good. That's good.
So the limo, he was racing in modified. And he
As a limo does.
Bent his rear axle.
Split the front axle.
Oh.
So they can't drive it, so they got it off course. And then they were waiting for a tow.
Oh, they couldn't recover. It was too big.
Oh, it was too big.
They have people out there to drag you off, but it was so big they couldn't. They had to bring in a loader, a front end loader.
So they left the car out there.
On 46-inch tires.
Yeah.
They went in and then waited for the track to clear, and then they came back out, and they were missing tires,
seats, transfer case.
Oh my God.
Because it was like a expensive transfer case.
Yeah.
I think the rear axle.
The one that wasn't split.
Anything that had any value was pretty much gone.
But eventually they came back out and realized they can't recover it, so they needed an actual, like, a fork front loader, a huge cat, to get it back out. So they went back in, and when they came back out, everything else was stripped. The only thing was left was the body and the iPad, because it was able to be tracked. So they were sitting out there in the desert waiting for someone to break down
and
come in and steal everything.
The Jawas came for it. That's insane.
Yeah, the Nevada desert rats.
Yeah, exactly.
That was when Aaron told me about that. That's a whole thing. Group of people out there just sitting out there waiting to call in broken trucks.
Oh man.
And then they just swarm them.
Just swoop in. That's insane.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big lift. Obviously, like the limo had some good parts, I'm sure. But if a Brenthal trophy truck gets, something happens to it out there, like that's $1 million truck. Like that's insane. If somebody could get, unfortunately, all the pieces off of that, or even half of it, but it'd be hard to sell, I think. But anyways,
yeah. Well, I mean, there's like tires, stuff like that fall off trucks.
Yeah.
Any part that they can grab, they will.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff you have to actually put your number on it. Okay. So like it is semi-trackable.
Mm-hmm. Got it. That helps a little bit, at least. So how did that come about? How did the what's the involvement that got Hoopty Cross there? Like what's the catalyst?
2021 we actually did Hoopty Cross as our own event at the Mint.
Okay.
And Chuck was in charge of that. Actually drove the race car 1,100 miles there to race myself.
Great.
Tell what the race car was.
So it's my little Subaru. It got a 36-mile test drive after being completely modified, new suspension. I did the fender wells so they tuck all the way up to bump stops.
Okay.
36-mile test drive. Left at 2 a.m.
Good to go.
1,100 straight through.
Oh my God. Obviously you made it.
There and back.
No.
And I got second in class, so.
Did you lose to yourself or?
I lost to a Subaru Justy.
Oh, come on.
But it was trailered.
Okay. So. All right. Trailer green. So, man.
We came with them, Chuck talking with them. And because the Mint was shut down for a long time.
Oh yeah.
For years, and then the brothers they brought it back.
Okay.
Because it was one of the oldest races in the U.S. and one of the hardest courses. Well, from talking to drivers, it's one of the hardest courses in the world.
One of the ones in the world, but I think it is the hardest one in the U.S.
Makes sense. It's beloved. People really, really like it over the last few years. Like, it seems to have blown up, which is really cool.
Yeah, we were going to go back for a second event in 2022, but that got canceled. And then they had the idea to actually do the class for us.
How many people were involved in that class?
What was it? First year we had 4 in our class, and then the limo was in the modified.
Got it.
This year we had 2, 3, 4 again.
Miata, Mercedes, Crown Vic, and no, that was it.
Oh, Jamie didn't pass test.
Oh,
whoops.
Well,
So Emmy Hall and her Miata won last year in stock class. As like a gentleman's agreement, this year everybody was going to be in stock class, just to kind of everybody runs each other. And then she moved to modified class last minute. So she was there by herself.
Smart. That
leaves the first place open for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But she was also over half an hour faster.
Wow.
Because she ran it in KOH too.
Yeah.
Oh,
she
interesting.
Did that with the Miata as well.
Yeah.
Really?
She's a driver.
That is awesome. What was the truck? There's the I guess hard body truck. Is that was a separate thing, right?
Originally, Chuck made it to look like the Budweiser trucks that ran the Mint. Completely stock until we took it to the Mint.
Yeah.
And we broke the Amazon upper control.
Some sort of tubular upper arms that were on it. The ball joints broke.
Oh, no.
The rear lower control arms broke.
Radius arm bushing broke.
Radiator was falling out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was bad. It's rough.
We had a month and a half to build a truck.
Okay.
So.
And that included putting the in-cage, all safety stuff, seats.
Oh, geez.
Everything to make sure the pass tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we made about 30 miles.
35.
35 miles?
All right.
Okay. Well,
it drove in the trailer at mile marker 35. So it drove itself in the trailer.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also we don't feel bad. There was huge trophy trucks sitting right next to us broken.
I mean, that's off-road racing. Like, stuff breaks, people don't finish. Like, it's all of those races, it's a race of attrition. Like, it's finishing well is great, but finishing it all, you're in the club. So I think, being on the outside, it's whatever. At least you tried.
Yeah. It was fun, and we're like, there's our weak point. Let's figure it out.
Exactly.
And yet again, Chuck was like, "Oh yeah, here's the truck." 2 months before we needed to be there, and
I had to source a parts truck.
So we took a 2000.
We got that January 20th.
Yep,
2000. Start tearing it apart.
14, 13. 13 4Runner, burnt to the ground.
Oh my God.
So we used it for the rear axle and built an entire jig front suspension. And we got a hold of Camberg. Well, Tate
got a hold of
MagnaFlow.
Got it.
At the O'Reilly's event. And he's like, this is what we're doing. They're like, we're on board.
Yeah.
So they sent us their hardcore front suspension kit for off-road.
It's actually the race kit.
Kit, yeah.
Not just the trail kit.
So we more or less grafted the 4Runner suspension to the Nissan.
Okay.
And they didn't break it.
Sounds like a win.
But we did that in 16 days.
Yeah.
Man, that's impressive.
And we started literally on the 20th. We started taking the parts truck apart. Worked weekends only. So we had like 5 weekends.
Yep.
Then the last week leading up to it, I was there every day.
And me after work.
Yeah.
And then weekends.
And then it went on the ground for the first time on Saturday before we left.
Yep.
With everything actually bolted up and able to cycle. Monday we set it on the ground under its own weight, able to move. We were working 21 hours Monday.
Oh my God.
Don't remind
me.
When you start hallucinating, you should probably put the welder down.
Well, I only remember that because that was when I woke up standing up at work on the front of the truck. It was 6 a.m.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the sun was coming up. I was like, we need to go home after this.
Well, I just went out and slept in the car. Woke up 3 hours later and went back to work.
Just a little break. It's
Power
okay.
nap, you know?
Power nap. But we did all that, loaded the truck. What was it? At least we went in the trailer under its own power this year.
Yeah. Yeah. The previous year, I was sitting on the back of the truck with a power probe giving power to the fuel pump so we can get it into the trailer.
Oh my God.
We finished at 11:56 Wednesday night, and we were in line for tech at 8 o'clock Thursday morning.
Yeah.
And that was the first year. This year, it actually done before it left. So, hey, we made progress.
That's good. That's good.
But,
a little bit, not very much.
I mean, considering it's a 2013 4Runner long travel kit with a Subaru steering rack, custom adapters, all grafted onto an 89 Nissan pickup.
Yeah, in the rear, we put the rear e-locker.
Oh, we got the rear e-locker.
Yeah, we locked it in. It's locked all the time right now.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's all you need for racing.
But it all works. It all fits. It steers like it's not having any issues. I mean, we have one little power steering leak from the lines being put together from Nissan to Subaru. And we're going to get a new line made for that.
Yeah, it's nothing.
No, pretty good. They didn't break the truck. I'm happy about.
It made it through the race.
Oh yeah, it made it through the race.
And they placed, right?
Yeah,
first place in this year.
First place in the class.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a come up from busting up your
barely starting last year.
Yeah, your non-branded upper control arms.
The fun part, the Crown Vic Trophy truck broke at 27.
Yep.
So mile marker 27, they broke.
Oh man. So that Mercedes that I've seen, I think you mentioned it earlier. That thing is fairly serious too, right? What's
mostly stock?
Mostly stock? No.
Stock suspension. They actually blew one of the springs out of the car this year.
I did see that. I saw that. Okay.
So,
yeah.
We saw them at first pit, and we saw them at second pit. And he's like, well, between the first pit and second pit, which was, what?
30 miles a course?
30 miles and then 57.
Yeah.
Their spring front driver's side left to chat.
But it's all stock control arms.
Okay.
Yeah, all stock. He just cut the wheel wells out to fit those big tires.
Yeah.
So they went from second pit in to try to find a spring that will ish work.
Something
they couldn't find one. So they rode the bump stop from mile 57 to mile 100 on that bump stop. Oh. He said, screw it, I want to finish.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough. Slow, but...
He still got second.
Yeah, he still got second.
Oh. Yeah.
That's crazy.
At that point, it was a war of attrition.
Yeah. Exactly.
But he was saying he was pretty much skidding rocks the entire way.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you have any insight into next year? Is it going to be a similar thing? Are you just hoping to grow the class?
Are we just a little bit PTSD?
Is it too soon?
Well, my PTSD never got a chance to stop. So.
Yeah. I think we're doing motor and transmission swap. Because they were super underpowered with the OEM D21 motor, which we did that on purpose. So we can at least finish and get through the course, know how we can get through it, and then we're going to re-gear it also. Okay. Because the stock Toyota gearing sucks.
Well, it went from 462.5 to 373s.
Okay.
Still with 31-inch tires, which it actually does pretty well getting around with those tires.
Oh, yeah. No, driving around is fine, but driving through the desert trying to get time.
Yeah.
And it's super underpowered with the motor, and we're going to do a Infinity motor and a
VQ37.
Yep.
Which is 335 horsepower stock.
All right.
Tuned, naturally aspirated. They're capable of 400 crank.
And they're also the worst sounding V6 ever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there real quick.
It's got a VG30.
Yeah.
It's going to get a VQ.
Yep.
It's a class roll thing.
Yeah, we have to stay in the family.
Uh-huh.
So it's okay to swap engines, but not outside of the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Two things.
Okay.
He wants to be able to run in class 7.
Okay.
Which has the manufacturer roll in certain classes.
Okay.
But they have cylinder displacement.
Mm-hmm.
And turbocharged, you can only have 4-cylinder.
Got it.
Naturally aspirated V6s up to 4.5 liters.
Ooh. Okay.
So it limits what you can choose from.
Yeah.
The VQ37 HR is a 7,600 RPM motor, but still has all the power that you would want.
Yeah.
I mean, capable of 400 horse.
I mean, that's a lot of power for anything,
yeah.
let alone
for a V6.
That's plenty.
Yeah. For a 3.7 liter V6, that's a lot.
And they can't weigh more, if any more, than the VG, I would assume, right? It's probably less. I mean,
it might be.
I think it's aluminum block, so but it's dual overhead cam.
Yeah, so like probably balances out, I would assume.
Yeah,
pretty close.
Then we can also move the engine back.
Okay, even better.
So
we're going to try to do some weight distribution.
So
hopefully it doesn't drop it off a month before we need to go.
I'm gonna spoiler alert.
No.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
That's what's gonna happen.
I just need Oren to get me the engine.
So
if we get the engine, I can get that thing wired before it ever sees the truck.
There you go. I think this is interesting because that truck went from look at that cool Nissan that's painted like an old race truck to let's throw everything we can at it and make it a real race car.
That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
I think year one we cut the I wouldn't call that a roll bar even. But
the push bar?
Yeah, off the back of it.
Okay, yeah.
That they'd welded in.
Oh, in the bed.
Yeah, and then I built the full roll cage. Everything was tailored to fit those two specifically in that truck because Tate's not small.
Yeah. It was so funny fitting both of them because they're what? Tate's 6'4",
inches,
and then Chuck's probably 5'9",
something like that. And there's a rule for how much room you have to have between the helmet and the cage.
And the cage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like a 3-inch rule or a 3-finger rule.
So I was actually building a little spacer, had him sit, and was running the little spacer around the helmets to make sure that we had clearance. Because it's with your head where you're going to sit. And then 3 inches. Because you also have your Hans and everything.
Right.
So it's not going to move too much. But
no, it was a fun experience both years. Going down, never doing, well, besides the hoop deck stuff, I've never really done racing besides a couple track days. And going into it, everyone there has been fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
It's always fun to meet people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great. And then, just to tie it back to good cause, great crew, like I think that's awesome. I was trying to find, was the Nissan part of the like Hoonigan video where they were out in the
okay. That's the same Nissan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was trying to
bent
find
a quarter
it.
of an inch.
I'm pretty sure he bent those control arms a little bit when you launch off the ramp, and then we got it after that.
Got it.
So it was half like bruised at that point.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's all from a good time, so I think that's.
Well, he also rolled Feeney. That was in the Hoonigan video too. That blue, is it MR2?
Oh, okay.
MRS
yeah.
Spider.
MRS Spider.
Yep.
He rolled that on one of his hoop deck courses.
Jeez, that's terrifying.
He also threw all the belts off my RX-7 in the less than an hour period.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I enjoy the people that have the cars that look like they would be driven hard are actually driving them hard. I think that's pretty great. That's good. So you both have Subarus. Is this both of your like
amongst many other vehicles?
Okay.
Wait. How many vehicles do you have again, Russell?
35.
Oh my gosh. 35? I'm sitting here thinking he's gonna have 10. It's gonna be 35.
Okay.
Now
you
35
also have property to have those.
Right. Good for you, by the way. But
is it a used car lot? Is it like Russell's used cars? Is that why it's?
Well,
like 35 is I got my great grandma's Celica.
Okay.
I have my grandma's car. That was the last one she had.
Also a Celica, or
grandma's truck. The truck I got for my 18th birthday.
Okay.
The Ranger that was a gift for my 16th birthday. There's stuff I'm not.
You don't want to
get rid of.
Okay.
And then I do custom fabrication and other work.
Okay. So you collect them too. Yeah.
For free.
Yep. Yeah. Somebody doesn't pay. Somebody needs to pay a special way.
Or it's hey, I got a free car for you, and I'm like, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up.
Well, it's like the car I started Gambler with, I was paid to remove from the previous owner's property.
Okay.
Runs and drives. The same zip tie that I put on to make it run again is still there.
What?
7 years later.
You're a master mechanic. This is great.
Little things work.
Yeah.
And that car's won, I think, 2 or 3 Hoop DX championships now.
Yep.
And
all with that zip tie holding on.
Yeah.
Ignition coil plug.
Okay. Well, I was going to say it's got to be some sort of plug, right?
Yeah. And the kicker is it's a Subaru.
Yeah. Well, head gaskets are still there.
Well, it's a 1.8.
All right.
It makes 80 horsepower. We actually dynoed the car. 80 wheel horsepower.
That's at the wheels?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Well,
it sounds like what my van has.
It made at 4,000 RPMs, it makes 40. 6,000, 80.
Wow.
Fuel cut is 6,200. Very narrow power value.
Yeah. Just keep it on the limiter all the time.
All the time.
That's great.
I think Jamie can attest to me just kicking the crap out of that car.
Like me kicking the crap out of my Forester.
So both of those cars are cars you've done Hoopty Cross in. Both of you with the Subarus. Have you done Gambler events with them as well? Like normal? Yep.
Oh yeah.
Any other vehicles that you've done them with, or done in the Gambler?
Oh, every single one of my cars. Well, we also, me and Tate did Moab Trash Grab.
Okay.
And we took my 04 Forester through the Moab trifecta.
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
That's the blue one.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the blue one.
Impressive.
That I'm still getting comments on every day, and it's driving me crazy.
Dude,
they're like, no, that didn't happen. And I'm like,
it did.
Yeah, I spent like 15 hours on trail.
Oh my God. That's impressive. That's good.
That was a pain in the ass.
I bet. But it made it, obviously.
Oh yeah.
You still have it.
I drove it from Portland to Moab, did the trifecta, and then drove it home.
Oh my God.
It was so funny being on Poison Spider and passing side-by-sides that are turbocharged side-by-sides, and they're like, what are you doing here? And then you get up to Poison Spider, which is beautiful. When you get up to the top of Poison Spider, it comes on top of the mesa. Absolutely beautiful. Everyone should do it.
Yeah.
One of my buddies in his Jeep broke a U-joint. So we found the U-joint from one of the other Jeepers up there that had one. And this was during Jeep Safari Week. I'm at the top of Poison Spider, sitting on the back of my Forester and seeing these $100,000 Jeeps coming up over onto the mesa, and they're like, yeah, and they look over and they see me sitting in my Forester eating a sandwich, and they're like, what are you doing here? And the defeat in people's faces are so enjoyable.
I bet.
And they look over, they're like, what am I doing with my life? When this guy took his stock Forester with a 3 or 4 inch lift and drove it all the way up here.
I mean,
and he's like, did you helicopter it in? And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
I helicoptered my $300 Forester all the way up here just to make you guys feel like crap. No, I drove it.
Totally in budget. I want to say that the guys with the $100,000 rigs are having a good time, because I know they are, right? Like,
oh yeah,
sure,
dude, I would be enjoying myself too.
But I think that you getting up there with the Forester has to be the most like kick in the ass, funny thing where you're just like, well, made it.
Well, the Poison Spider wasn't bad. The other half of it was horrible.
Well. Was there any notable, like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it through this kind of moments?
Oh, yeah. Like 10, 12, 20 times. It was absolutely insane.
Oh, man. That is awesome.
So you go Poison Spider, Golden Crack, and you need at least 35 to get over Golden Crack.
Okay.
We suspended my force between 2 Toyotas and lifted it over. Oh yeah, I had help.
Oh my God.
I have a huge dent on my hood, and it's pushed back. The radiators, everything is pushed back, because when they suspended me, it went right underneath another Toyota.
Oh man, that is rough. I can't believe you drove it down there, did that, and then drove home. That's so impressive. Like,
so much fun, though.
I mean, I would. This is one of those moments where I want to say, like, I would do that in a heartbeat. But the beauty of this scenario is you did that. Like, you're not like YouTube guy or whatever.
Tate grabbed a bunch of videos from all of those and posted on Instagram.
Yeah, and
I'm still getting notifications on people arguing that I didn't do it.
Of course.
Like, there's video of me during the hard stuff that you can't just make up.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there. I love like built off-road rigs, right? Like I like having cool off-road stuff, but like I don't know, there's something about something that is like inappropriate for a trail and like getting it done. I think that's so cool. Like I just think
that's like,
why not?
Geo Metro Go Mountain fucking full send.
Yeah.
Or like the wagon going, it's gone through so many evolutions. So I had it. It did 2017 stock with a winch bumper and a 3/16 steel skid plate.
All right.
That went from the winch bumper past the transmission.
Good.
Pretty much couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
Got a 2-inch lift for Winter Wonderland. Went out to Brown's Camp. Jesus. And was doing trails that had like a 35-inch tire minimum. And was just barely like touching the ground, pushing itself on the skid plate. Then it went to being lifted and having 15.5 inches of ground clearance at the front subframes.
That's a lot.
Like the control arms were the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5.5 inches, no spacers, and 8-inch wider stands. Then as I started doing hoopty cross more and the racing side, I was like, too tall. Because I had that car up on 2 wheels.
Jeez.
Several times. It ended up with us having a conversation. If I ever took the windshield out, it had to get a roll cage.
Seems like a good qualifier.
Raced it 2022. I finally had the windshield come out when it spit the hood pins out on course.
Oh my God.
Windshield comes up, and there's pictures of me sliding sideways through a corner with the windshield up.
The hood on the windshield, yeah.
Put the hood back down, pulled the windshield out, put it in a garbage can, went like 4 seconds faster, drove it 2.5 hours home.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Finally put a roll cage in it.
Well, and you still have your wiper blades on, so it's fine.
Oh, that's right. That's the Oregon law.
I got stuck in traffic for 2 hours next to a state patrol officer who was looking at me funny because I had the air conditioning on.
Got to be comfortable.
It was like 105 degrees out.
Yeah.
It works. It's going to blow cold air on me. I'm fine. Had the racing helmet on. So full face. We're good. Finally put a roll cage in it. And then I put the car so it's actually sitting stock ride height, but the 29-inch tires clear and cycle all the way to full compression without rubbing.
That is good.
So that's the car I started in 2017 with. And it's gone up and down, and now it's just basically a race car. And I can't really drive it on the street much anymore. Mm-hmm. Getting in and out with full door bars, A-pillar support. So I've got like a bar here, door bars up to here, because it's a full FIA legal roll cage.
This is prime example of gambler cars reaching pinnacle. Like it goes from piece of shit, whatever, bendy bus with a hot tub to race car. there's this progression where you just go, all right, here we go.
Well, story arc. Then you go the other way where the hearse is super lifted.
Yeah.
And it's not a race car. And if you turn a corner too sharp, you'll flip it over.
Yeah.
But it does look cool, so.
Oh no, it's a beautiful, beautiful vehicle. And there's a lot of people that take a lot of pride in it. But there's also the far end of the spectrum.
Oh yeah. Dude, I saw at the fairgrounds this year when the Gambler Town bit was there. There was like a late 80s Chrysler New Yorker. I think it's a Chrysler that looked like it was like in like grandma condition, like 50,000 miles, nice, and it had like side-by-side tires on it. That's it. So like knobby side-by-side tires, and he was stuck in a ditch, and I was just like, man, that is one of the nicest New Yorkers I've seen since I was a kid, and here it is, and I just couldn't help but laugh. Like, good for you, man.
It's just so wild.
Yeah,
going through so many events. The yearly one I always go to, but we go to Winter Wonderland, Border Patrol.
Border Patrol we haven't been able to go to for 2 years.
No, I'm gone.
Not the one during race week.
Oh yeah. So the Border Patrol, which goes from Oregon to California, back and forth through the mountains.
Cool.
But there's all these events we go to that aren't the big event, which are so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Which are out in the middle of nowhere.
How?
Like you guys go on your guys' everyone's off-road trips.
Yeah.
But you're like 30 people deep.
Yeah.
And you're just having fun.
How does someone, I don't want to ruin your fun and like invite all 100 of our followers to this thing, but like how does someone find the smaller events? Like what do you do to become a part of the the group?
Gambler 500 Rally group.
Okay.
On
Facebook. Got it.
And Tate's completely open on it.
Yeah.
He's not like, hey, pay me money and you can do your own event. No, if you guys want to do like, hey, I want to go out for my birthday and invite 100 people. Do a gambler event, bachelor party, whatever. He doesn't care. As long as you're not making money off of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you are, it goes to Sons of Smoke.
Yep. So it can properly benefit.
And Sons of Smoke pays for all the trash removal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. That's a good way to do it. And I remember early on that coming up where somebody, I don't know, a podcast or something, there was some conversation about like anybody can make one of these events, and be supported in that way. And I think that's great too, because that just keeps it moving and keeps it fun. And, I think it's a good way to do it. It's not like us. We're closed off assholes where we just want just our
we only invite 6
little
people.
Group of people here.
We've got our circle.
We were just talking about this before the podcast. There's a whole bunch of stuff with that. But all right. So usually, I was going to mention this at the beginning. Usually we try to stick to an hour. So we're a bit over that. So I think we're good unless there's anything else that anybody has to get out.
I just want to say you can buy 57 Subarus for one side-by-side.
It's true. It's just like you can buy 23.6 Rangers for the cost of one new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always kind of said that like lifted Subarus are kind of like a full-bodied side-by-side. Similar power, a lot more weight, similar drivetrain, right? You get a CVT all-wheel drive Subaru. It's kind of like a Razor.
No, don't. Not the CVTs.
I'm not saying this is what you should do. I'm just saying that's what it is.
But how many head gasket issues do side-by-side have?
I don't know, to be honest.
I haven't heard.
Don't know. I could still buy 57 Subarus.
So you got to double that for head gaskets,
on the
right?
side-by-side, you're replacing all your suspension.
Sure, yeah.
You can go full send on the Subaru oil pan, maybe.
I've got pictures of like 3 feet of air under the tires, and all it was a set of struts.
Well,
so
yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, we've gone down the side-by-side rabbit hole a few times.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll update them later.
Yeah, Jesse loves side-by-sides.
It's his favorite thing.
But, we try to start in the beginning to explain us two.
Yeah.
Russell, where did you begin and where are you at now?
I started my company 10 years ago this year. I run Raw Performance, and I do custom metal fabrication, roll cages, restoration metal work, and performance belts. And I started out in heavy equipment.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, and
I just work on cars 9 days a week.
28 hours a day.
No, I here locally, I work at a shop that has a 5x5 star small shop. Custom fabrication on the side, and trying to start my own business, doing the same thing.
so just saying locally, it's like
it's all local. Yeah. Russell's out of Washington. I'm here, Oregon City, Westland area. I just somehow got wrapped in with Tate, and now I fix and build his cars and deal with his shenanigans, which is absolutely ridiculous most of the time.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh, just wait till you hear about the new one.
You guys working?
We're not going to ruin it. There will be a absolutely obscene car that he's working on. I'm not taking too much part of, but it's a historic vehicle.
Oh, geez.
And it's absolutely ridiculous.
What percentage of automotive enthusiasts is he going to try to upset this time?
All of them.
He's going for 100%, full send.
400%. All of it.
He's trying to piss off people that aren't even car people.
It's going to be hilarious. I think I already succeeded on that part when the first video comes out.
Yeah, we'll see.
How long do you think until we see something around this?
I think there's a picture of it in one of his posts already.
Oh.
That's how I know.
It hasn't gotten a lot of publicity yet.
Mm. Okay.
If you go back on Tate's post, there is a red Ferrari. Ferrari.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ferrari.
Did I see something about like an engine swap in that Fiero thing? Is that what
Fiero.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
A Ferrero.
Okay.
I think we're going Ferrari.
All right.
The company that was making the original body molds to put on the MR2s.
Okay.
This is the original car.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So we're going to make some people mad about it.
Good. Might as well.
And anything that I think got posted is out the window. It's changed so much in the last 2 weeks.
All right, good. I can't wait to see it.
Cage stuff and Camberg stuff, hopefully.
Oh, man.
BNR Auto Wrecking's involved.
Yeah, that opens up the doors to whatever you want to mash together.
It's gonna be obscene.